definitely a game where we could see, you know, Bane die 19 times.
100%. I think what I really like as well about the Shadow Shaman pickup is it poses threat to Ember Spirit. So whether it goes offlane, whether it goes mid, it basically means that come mid game, he can't just go in recklessly. If he ever tries to jump in on someone, there's always the chance that Shadow Shaman's just gonna hex him up, and they don't really have a way to cancel it outside of like Bane. His spells are pretty short range, so it's very difficult for him to stop that. And also Night Stalker, if he gets like a blink, it's also going to be able to just kind of jump and stop the Ember Spirit. He's going to be forced into going something like a BKB very early.
The Bane Wraith King picks almost make me wonder what patch we're on, you know?
It's very true. Yeah. Not for like the coddle there. Other 3 picks are just, you know, very last patch. And the patch brought us, you know, some shake up. I think there's like 5 to 10 heroes that are kind of being picked a bit more, but definitely most of the stuff that was meta before is still meta now. Like TA was a big deal last patch, and still is.
Do you like this Wraith King though? Is this something that helps Execration build a strong team comp?
I think at least last patch, a lot of the time Wraith King was kind of picked into the TA. I think the idea is kind of like, you know, TAs just jump in, burst someone down, and Wraith King, you've got the second life. You just buy time for that TA's BKB to expire, like with your first life plus the reincarnation time. It just seems like an overall solid, but not like it doesn't like stand out in anything it does. It just seems solid. Is kind of how I look at the Wraith King.
I am looking at this game right now, and I know who Bob is. I know that he's a filthy Batrider player, and I'm thinking if I'm Neon, I might want to be a little bit wary of it, especially since they have last overall pick. Looks like a pretty decent bat game to me.
10 seconds.
Unless I misunderstand the hero very hard.
So for Execration, let's say the Batrider gets through, they might want to pick it up. What would OB.Neon be looking to pick up that could deter them from picking up Batrider?
I would just ban it at this point, to be honest.
Okay. There's nothing.
I mean, you could pick something. I mean, you'd put TA carry, especially if Asta's playing it, and then Avatar mode could maybe play something like, I don't know, Lina. That also means if Ember does go like mid, because obviously they're not showing what role this Ember Spirit's going in, and they won't know on Neon when they have to pick. So you could just pick something that just wins mid and deals with things like a Lina. And it's like if Ember goes there, yeah, you can kind of bonk him. Or if it's someone else, you can usually bonk them as Lina. It's just Lina.
5 seconds remaining.
I personally wouldn't really like to see her though with a TA. I'd prefer something like a bit more playmakey.
Get some basically lockdown team fight aspect. The Invoker gets banned. Obviously, also has the EMP versus the Wraith King, but I think with like the Night Stalker, like they've got Shaman, which packs a lot of disables, but I don't think it's like the most reliable thing. And there's the Batrider ban.
I was gonna say they knew.
That's good. That's good. We're safe, boys. We're safe.
Yep.
So.
The nice thing for Execration is they can flex this Ember. If they get to last pick and say, okay, there's no great mid laner, we can just put the Ember there. Like they don't.
10 seconds
it
remaining.
makes more like it. You know, at least typical Dota drafting, your Ember's going mid. You're not thinking offlane Ember.
5 seconds remaining.
Maybe I would like to see Leshrac for Neon. Because I was thinking like Puck would be kind of nice because it's just more ways to jump the back line, which is like so important, and the coil's so nice against Ember. So to be honest, I wouldn't even be against seeing Puck. However, Leshrac is like consistent damage against a Wraith King. His 2 lives are not going to matter to you. And it's a way to keep up this tempo, push towers, take objectives, and really run with this TA's like win condition. They have so many ways to take towers already between Eng, TA, and Shadow Shaman. It's like kind of, it would be hard to deal with even more if you were to add more on top of that. Because Execration right now, they have D push and like Coddle, but it's really hard for them to defend their towers. I don't think their heroes are like particularly amazing at it.
Cheapo, you're a genius.
Thanks, I'm so friggin' good. Let's go, baby.
She got the Batrider ban. She got the Leshrac pick. Can't you get the Execration pick as well?
No, that's God's job.
No,
the perfect trifecta.
Yeah,
come on.
Okay, so I mean, I feel like this is gonna be Tino's Ember, and they're just gonna pick like a mid right now. They need something. Oh, they need a hero. They need a hero.
Do you still like the Lina?
Lina typically has been a hero that people like to play into Night Stalker because she buys BKB so quickly, and you can just kind of stand there your ground. So I wouldn't be against it at all. They have bodies as well, which is kind of nice. She might suffer if Ench rotates on her in the lane though. I can see it. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I can see it. I can't predict
Maybe
this one.
they
This was not fair.
Dragon Knight.
Dragon Knight. No.
Mars.
Okay, it's a Tino
Choose
Mars.
your hero.
It wasn't how we thought. It is going to be that Ember going mid. And with Ares and Danog joining us, I want to know, Danog, were you able to see that Leshrac pick coming? Or is that just a sheep specialty?
It's an avatar mode specialty, so good on you, Sheepo, for doing your research. I really like Neon's draft coming through, as I actually have to take off these Jonix Fire Shades because we got the last prediction wrong. TNC weren't able to take it out, so I'm not worthy.
Don't loop me in with you, Danog.
I like
Don't
Neon's
say
draft overall. Like, well, yeah, true. You did love the Centaur. This Night Stalker is just going to chomp on these guys, and I actually have a question for you. We saw in the pre-game interviews that there was Bob and there was Asta talking about it, and Bob was like, this is going to be easy. We played a lot in scrims, we played a lot of them in officials recently, and we've stomped them. And then it immediately goes to Asta, and he's like, yeah, 60-40, our favor. So which side do you think is a little too overconfident or even delusional with their chances?
Delusional.
Execration. Oh, not me. You want the analyst answers.
You're an analyst too now.
You're an analyst in that, please. I agree with that.
Thank you.
That they're overconfident.
Yeah.
I think Execration got this series. I'm team Execration.
So you
I'm
think
team-
OB.Neon are overconfident, but it's going to be
What?
interesting. I mean, look, there's only one way to find out,
Neon.
and that's to let the game play out. So please, Danog and Ares, go away with game number 1.
Thank you, Nat. We will go away indeed. We have a beautiful series lined up. These teams, they've played a lot recently. You know, we've seen them in the OEDC, we've seen them in the Pro Series, and it was a back and forth. Luckily for us, Danog and I, we had the opportunity to cast both those games. One day we had Pro Series, the next it was OEDC, and they split those series. So it's going to be exciting to see. This is where it matters, though. DPC action for Neon and Execration. I know we're speaking a little bit off camera, saying we're both big fans of the Neon draft. I don't think the last pick, Mars, we didn't have an opportunity to speak about it, but for you, that doesn't kind of sway your opinion at all?
No, not really. I mean, when you think about it, what is that actually going to do to protect your supports, right? Like, Night Stalker's going to be using the Dark Ascension. He's going to just be running at you. He's flying, so he's going to be able to get over the top of the arena. This Bane, this Coddle have 0 layers of protection for themselves. And even the Leshrac, right? He's going to get a pretty early BKB just so that you can be that playmaker to stop the TA being the main focus of a lot of your aggression. So even him, he's not going to care about the Solar Bind, he's not going to care about the Searing Chains. You're going to need to consider the Fiend's Grip, but I mean, that's why the Night Stalker and the Lesh are going to play together, right? Night Stalker just gets straight on top of the Bane, no Fiend's Grip, no Nightmare, and yeah, I feel like Neon are going to take this one.
I mean, like you said, though, in the before we chucked it over, it's fascinating to hear the confidence from Bob. I feel like that's really positioned 2 players, though. Their ego is skyrocketed through the roof. I really feel like you have to be like that, though. You're 1v1. You think you're the best in the game. Everything revolves around you. And I wouldn't doubt Bob to be like, yep, easy game, no doubt about it. Neon, they ain't got anything on us. We're just gonna steamroll them.
You could say shit. They had the Wheel of Bullshit as the content piece, so
That's
I think
true.
it's perfectly doable, yeah. So you heard it first. Ares thinks they got shit.
Hang on a second. Dude, I think Neon are a great team. I favor their draft. I've also been really, I think both us coming into it, we were also favoring Execration in regards to the series overall, but yeah, I reckon both teams got shit, but I reckon Neon maybe got a little bit more behind them with the
30
draft.
seconds to battle.
All right. I want to see how they play around Bob as well, because we've seen plenty of times, right? He will go for the dives. He will look to make it happen consistently in the laning stage. And, I mean, with the playing together with a Wraith King, of course, just the new, of course, Ember Spirit build, you're able to be a little bit more active, a little bit more into that minus armor and physical damage style, which is going to be pretty decent to not only melt the supports that they've got on OB.Neon's side, but enable
The
your
battle
Wraith King as well.
begins.
So I'm keen to see how this offlane goes in particular, because the Tino plus Shanks duo in the offlane with the Ember Spirit and the Coddle, it is something that they've done before, and they won with it. So the fact that they went away with the Mars, clearly they think they need a little bit more team fight control, and maybe they want to be the aggressors. You know, you understand that the Night Stalker is going to be running at you. You understand that the Lesh is going to get that early BKB and look to do the same. So try and abuse the times where they can't do that, whether it be at daytime, when the Night Stalker doesn't have ultimate, or when Lesh doesn't quite have the BKB just yet.
All right, well, speak to me about this. We've got Abang actually playing top with the Enchantress and then Jing down bottom on the Shaman. So they kind of swapped up the traditional lanes, I guess, from the 4 and the 5. What do you think the big reason for this is?
I would have to say that maybe it's just to get more use out of something that's going to stop the Nightmare from happening. You know, Abang is very far forward here, obviously wanting to get a lot of harass off in the early stages, but you get that enchant off, you're going to always have a creep to be able to remove the Nightmare, and that's going to be a really effective tool just to make sure your laning stage is a little better. But look at that, Vincenzo body blocking his own small camp and looking to use a sentry on the Neon hard camp. So just making sure that that's not going to be a factor in reducing the impact of this Enchantress in the lane.
I think that's an awesome point you bring up, because I feel like Bane always very single target's going to struggle with the creep. I do worry for Asta though, because the Templar Assassin being a very low-ranged hero early on and pretty squishy, and I'm a big fan of having either a melee in her lane or at least like this ranged body Enchantress Death Prophet are the perfect two at the moment. So I'm intrigued to see what the Shaman can do, because I think this is a pretty tricky lane. Tino and Shanks, that's a lot of spam with the Gods of Book, the Illuminate. If you get a spear connection, all of a sudden you're probably down to about a third health. And this is one of Tino's best heroes. I know back when he was on Execration prior, trying to play the position 3, they were just giving him Mars a ridiculous amount. We got some more chat. Palace is like, hey, what's going on here, lads? What are you saying? This is where I need, you know, Mike can rely on John, but I don't have my co-cast to rely on to be able to translate. So I'm honestly pretty disappointed. I've expected you by now to somehow learn a couple of languages for some of the Southeast Asian countries. Hang on,
just
like
in a few months, you know.
Well, do better is all I say, because this is, you might win some more fans. You might also just help the quality of the stream. So honestly, I'm pretty disappointed. I think you gotta pick it up.
Bro, they start talking in French and I got you, but until that point, not going to be too helpful.
Well, we unfortunately don't have too many French players, and especially not down in Southeast Asia, so I don't know, you can't really help me out there.
I mean, Jing's doing a pretty decent job of looking to zone out a little bit here. Of course, Shadow Shaman looking to make the most of his excellent attack damage. But Shanks, of course, he's not going to be the main target. It's Tino, really, that Jing's looking to put the main focus onto, as well as trying to get in a few denies up here. And if you're able to lock down Tino, then it's not really too much that you can do to be able to stop that.
Mid lane, Avatar mode up against Bob. Are you putting this one way or the other between the Ember Spirit and the Leshrac, or do you feel like it's pretty even?
It's skill-based, in my opinion, right? Like, this game, of course, you're up against a Leshrac, so he's gone a little bit more into the Flame Guard. Leshrac has pretty decent armor just as a base, so you're not going to get the same level of harass out as you might against, you know, a Void Spirit or a Puck or these type of heroes.
Do you feel like then, because I know you said it's skill-based, could it then come down to maybe support rotations on either getting water runes or power runes?
I suppose, but then who exactly is free to rotate? You know, maybe the Coddle, just, you know, if you get a full Illuminate with the Searing Chains to be able to lock down the Leshrac, that might sort of enable it, just because you're a lot faster than any of these other supports on the side. But that'd be about it. This bot lane, TA, take a little bit of harass. Making the most out of that Chakra Magic, making sure that Tino is able to consistently spam. He's even just still go on the standard build with the Soul Ring, just to make sure that he's always able to use spells off cooldown, basically. And the main goal is, I still really like Neon's draft, but if Asta's bullied out of the lane and he doesn't get too much out of it, then that's going to be the difference maker that means that Palace is going to have that much higher level of effectiveness.
Are you concerned on maybe the playmaking for Neon at the early stage of the game to just make space for Asta?
Not particularly. I mean, I feel like Enryu, he just needs to get something like his phase boots, and then he's probably going to be ready to start making some of these super deep dives. It's just still going to be the supports, right? And I mean, if you take out the Bane, where is a lot of the lockdown that they've got on Execration? You know the Palace isn't going to get active incredibly early. He still needs time to farm. So I feel like if you're taking out the Bane, you're feeling relatively safe on the TA. And I was actually mentioning it during the draft as well. With the Bane coming up against the TA, it's... what are we looking at here?
The chat. I don't know what Asta put CD in the all chat for. I've seen this twice now. I think I was yesterday's stream or something, someone else wrote CD in chat. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the high five cooldown. It's always something you come to love with a lot of these teams. Though they're so familiar with each other, screaming constantly. There's always third-party tournaments in Southeast Asia, and they're ex-teammates. Some of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What I was saying before with Vincenzo as well, I love the Enfeeble, but I feel like any kind of game where you just, like, attack reduction of 45% with one value point into it. It's incredible against a TA and a Nightstalker, honestly. So until they pick up those BKBs, it's going to do a lot to make sure that you're a lot more survivable.
Still not level 6. Bob needs to be perfect with the sleight of fist to try and dodge the stun, but Avatar mode consistently pump faking. Now they're able to pick up first, but unfortunately that Ben gets it instead of the Leshrac, but we also have Tino going down. We saw a lot of the emphasis from the supports. Execration tried to help out mid, but it's like they will get a rebuttal. Ben gonna go down to the couple of right clicks, so in the end, they find one kill, but my oh my, that's so worth it. Neon, 2 kills, tier 1 tower. Yikes, this is not good.
Neon are doing very well this early stage, and with a lot of those rotations as well, they saw the fact that these camps were stacked up. So I even wonder if they might look to make some sort of rotation with either the Lesh or even the TA to be able to look to claim them. I mean, they win the next team fight, they could certainly look to do that. Top side is where Avatar Mode's looking to make his first rotation through 2. Palos going to be the main target. Still doesn't quite have that level 6 available to himself, but he's going to come back underneath the safety of his tower. Just looking to scout out for any more of these stacks that might be built up inside the jungle, and he's even looking to retain the use of that regen rune. Just quickly boosting his farm up just that little bit further.
They're going to see him. Palos trying to sneak to his jungle. Radiant have an observer ward place though. Palos not going to be caught out. I think the one thing I'm also really worried about is the fact that Nightstalker's top of the net worth, and this hero is not the greatest laner by any stretch, but the Enchantress placed top really enabled Enryu. There was just nothing that the Bane and Wraith King could do to kind of throw him out of the lane, and they're going to see Vincenzo, this Observer Ward once again. Bang, all he needs is a Centaur Conqueror Stun and pick up another kill. First one for Avatar mode. And they're just going to go from lane to lane. This tier 1 tower, I don't think there's any way you protect it. In fact, we're going to get another kill just straight onto the plate as Enryu wants to chuck up the ultimate. I mean, why not? Put it on cooldown, get a free kill for yourself. As Shanks, all he can do is drop the flag and high five, but Enryu gets the last laugh.
Yeah. He was saving the Void just to make sure he wasn't able to TP away, but he didn't even have a TP on Shax, so probably didn't even need to do that. They're still going to be able to convert this into another tier 1 tower, and this is the power that I was talking about, right? Where you're just able to consistently be active, get present on the map, and just put on the pedal, right? And it's working out. The laning stage going incredibly well. The TA has the late game scaling, and you're already a good portion towards those BKBs if you were wanting to pick them up. Actually, what's Nightstalker going here? Looks like he's going into an Echo Saber, so just wanting more of that burst.
Palos might just get solo killed by the maxed out Edict. Oh my god, no, Palos! Oh, that's way too close. 8 minutes in for Avatar mode to be that deep. That's a beautiful way to highlight the stage that Execration are in. This is not... Oh, it's looking rough, Danog. It's looking rough.
I mean, I swear I looked at Palos about 1.5 minutes ago, and he was halfway through level 5, as he's only just hit level 6. So they're just constantly keeping the pressure up, obviously getting the kills.
Jin gets a stun, Avatar mode, making sure he holds the split earth. Oh, there seems to be no escape, and now they might even kill Vincenzo. Dude, look at the damage Lesh has. This hero is so crazy at the moment.
And he's not even being enabled by his Keeper of the Light either, so... just doing a good job on his own. Topside Palace, you need to be a little bit careful here, my man. He's put all of his skill points in already as well. Ooh.
Okay, we're speaking very grim stuff for Execration fans, but we've got to speak some music to their ears. Then I'll go, what is the avenue back in for Dire in this game? Come on, I need an answer.
Okay, so who has the majority of kills right now on Nia? Avatar mode. All right, he doesn't even have a killing spree yet, but I feel like the first big rotation from Tino is going to be the difference maker, right? He is enabled heavily by this Keeper of the Light, alongside Bob, of course, but Bob, it doesn't feel like is going to be able to achieve too much of anything, only just having picked up the phase boots. So it's can you kill these two squishier supports with the damage that doesn't really care about, like, touchable, and can you take out the Leshrac before she hits that Yule Scepter timing? And I feel like Tino has the capability to do it. They might even try and force someone to come down towards this bottom side of the map, with the lane finally starting to push into the tier 1 tower.
Radiant's bottom tower.
How aggressive are Bang's playing though? Will unfortunately cost him his life.
Bill it.
Gonna make him work for it. It might not even. Whew. It just, they have to use so much and such a grave cost of not even almost getting the kill. It just, again, continues to show the position that Execration are in. But Tino is freely farming down bottom. Is just forced to go into this first item Blink Dagger, which of course we see more often than not on a Mars, but especially this game when you need someone to make plays.
Yeah, there is no question that that's exactly what they need right now in Execration. Some sort of way for Wraith King to be able to bridge the gap, and it's going to be a kill onto these cores before they pick up BKB. Once they get that, I feel very bad for Execration's prospects. Like, it would need to be perfect positioning coming through from Vincenzo, where he isn't getting caught from the crippling Fear Silence before the Night Stalker gets onto him with a Fiend's Grip. And I feel like it's very hard for him to get that.
I guess
Oh, yeah,
Jing
the
has
Shadow
some
Shaman,
extra.
right.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're ripping it apart. Early Medallion, you got Meld, and
The Serpent
Oh
Wards deal
my
an
lord.
incredible amount of damage as well. Like, you can honestly nearly solo Roshan with a Shadow Shaman at this point in the game. It's kind of ridiculous. You need level 7, I believe, to be able to do it. Just, you need that slightly extra amount of lockdown, but it's damn early.
okay, they might get the Aegis life. Arena drop from Tino. Illuminating Slight's actually enough to get the kill, but what's the price to pay? Very nicely positioned from Vincenzo. Holds back and Ryu, but you gotta book it, man. Pain, get out of the area. Bob's gonna do so as well. Phase soon to expire. Silence not a long enough duration, so Bob's gonna be okay. This is okay. That's signs of life. You take away the Aegis, and I think, like you were mentioning before, it's gonna be the way back in from the arena and just this slight spam now that you have the Orb of Corrosion.
And the big timing is they need to try and accelerate Tino as much as possible here. I don't think Vincenzo can afford to be taking even a single creep in this mid lane. Like, you need this Blink Dagger ASAP because you've got a timing open now, right? They don't have Aegis, and you don't have Dark Ascension for 2 minutes, and you've got 3 minutes
Radiant's
left on
bottom
daytime.
tower is
Something
under
else that's
attack.
going to enable you to go in 40 seconds once that arena's available. But it's like they're not even wanting to wait for that. It's going to cost them Shanks though.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
After the Echo Saber, just going straight into that BKB, and why not? Or Enryu, look to buy up the Mithril Hammer component first, just if you wanted to disassemble the Echo Saber, just make that timing even faster. But it looks like they are looking to group around the mid tower somewhat. I mean, Vincenzo's making his movement through now that he's level 6. Not
Radiant's
that they need to
middle
worry about the
tower is under
BKBs,
attack.
but they're just trying to hold back the key damage dealers right now.
This is definitely a window that I think Execration have, even though they're 5,000 gold behind. If you can find a numbers disadvantage in regards to Neon, then, because you know it's, what, Dark Ascension still on cooldown, nighttime up in 2 minutes. It's difficult just to brute force into the mid lane, especially with Radiant's Vision. This is something that I want to mention earlier, but they've done a very good job already this game with a Bang and his warding, and it's just going to continue to be that much more difficult with trap spams and eventually once Enryu gets more levels.
What a scan as well.
Wow.
Yep, that high ground ward, it's not in the most unorthodox spot, but you know that once you see them miss from the map in the mid lane and you don't see anyone show inside the dire jungle, you don't need 4 people to go into your own triangle. And that's...
Neon Gang!
Neon Gang, that's what OB.Neon have understanding of. They're looking to make this rotation. They're looking to make the most out of this Arena of Blood. How long left on the Dark Ascension? About 20 seconds. So you can see Enryu just trying to stay in the relative safety of his tower.
In regards to Palace's itemization, do you feel like he has the luxury of going Deso next item, or is he just forced to go Blink/BKB?
It's hard. Like, yeah, it depends what you value on Execration, right? Like, if you want to make sure that the Night Stalker doesn't have the freedom to just go in onto your supports, I think you need the Desolator, and you need to just tell supports, run to me if you get gone on, and I will start right-clicking the Night Stalker, and then maybe try and push him away in that aspect. But if they're looking to value, getting the jump and trying to take the fight on their terms, then, the Blink Dagger, the BKB, they're both perfectly viable as well. And you also need to consider with the BKB, how farmed is Avatar mode? And, well, turns out he is incredibly farmed.
That is the extremely scary thing in a game like this, when you're against so much vision and a Night Stalker who has free roam of the fight. These supports, Bane, Coddle, how do you even play? How do you play these fights? Because you want to be on the outskirts, you want to have the perfect opportunity to throw out these abilities, and they're also super poor where they are not going to have any items that can maybe help kite the Night Stalker, whether it be a Force Staff, a Glimmer Cape, whatnot.
We just saw previously in the Little Gun TNC game, Hishki got a ton of farm. He was able to get that on the Keeper of the Light. He had a Force Staff to save the rest of his team. He was doing, I think Dagon's doing a ton of damage in his own right, but just because of how much pressure has been put on by this Neon roster, just because of a very strong draft coming through from them, it's looking a little bit shaky. So Shanks, he's a fantastic player, but certainly not easy for him. I mean, he's got 2,000 gold though, so if he wanted to buy a Force Staff, he could.
With the Coddle hero in particular, do you feel like this hero plays only with being ahead? Because the way I look at it is like, he's someone that can do a lot with this Aghanim Shard, getting pickoffs left, right, and center across the map. He farms a lot too, so he can kind of be this like awkward 3.5 with just the items that he can get. But when you fall behind, it's like you're just a chuck a magic bot, and the rest of the team, if they don't have abilities or if you don't have the greatest pairing, then it seems super awkward.
Yeah, I suppose. You also need to consider, like, it's better if you're playing ahead, but I think behind you can also make a lot of work happen, right? Like, you're very good once you get that level 6 and you have the max illuminate with the blinding light, from just being able to solo clear out creep waves pretty damn easily, even from the fog, right? So you can keep lanes pushed out, you can take a lot of attention away from your cores, force the enemy team to defend. Even if you're giving up your own life in the process, it's at least a couple of heroes rotating to kill a position 4, so it's kind of worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tricky though with Execration, the position they're in. Neon they came out guns blazing, 13 minutes in, of course, 5,000 net worth lead. We do have one more person looking to reconnect, so hopefully we will have this game 1 underway. There we go. Coddle's joining shortly. Tino's dropping the Z, so he's like, come on lads, we want to get this one underway. But it's I'm just excited to see at least the battle that's about to break out, and kind of the route for Execration to come back in, because I'm always intrigued about the strategic approach, especially when teams are behind, and the minimal things that you're able to do just to pull an edge out somewhat in the net worth and just somehow find a real avenue back into a game.
That's what makes that scan so much more effective, right? The fact that they're able to get back, not lose this early lead that they've built up for themselves, and just continue on the farm. I mean, Asta, if he wanted to, he can disassemble the Dragonlance, and he's only about 200 gold away from picking up his BKB. So suddenly, you only can deal with the TA with the Bane, and with all this time that they've been able to waste, Dark Ascension back on cooldown, they can look to use it. 38-second duration. By the time they get in position to look to use it, unless they smoke underneath this Observer Ward, that'd be a pretty big deal. Nope. Instead, they go up towards the top side to maybe take out Pulse. He's there. Gets out in time. But again, it's another factor of how do you look to take these team fights now that you've got to have to deal with a BKB on your TA, right? It's rough.
I saw that ending from
They got big issues right now with just a vision game. Once again, 4 heroes from Execration just running underneath the ward and just telegraphing how they're looking to play. And they've got really aggressive wards on Dire as well, but they are getting nothing out of these. I believe
coming through.
It was under a ward.
Yeah, but yes, they know exactly where Bob is looking to farm, though. Again, you've picked up some of these big timings coming through.
Oh, you saw it. You saw them smoke. You saw them smoke. And Vincenzo just has to stand by and watch. He might even die as well. Void's back up. Who cares about the Void? Avatar mode will fulfill the role of cancelling the TP. 2 down. Avatar picks them all up and instantly to bottom. Vision game. It's a metric you can't really calculate, but something that is ever so vital to every Dota lineup as Neon find a third off the back of this.
It's just going to enable Enryu to snowball further and further, right? He's already got the Mithril Hammer coming out to himself, wanting to maximize the effectiveness and get the earliest BKB timing as possible. And that's why it's so important, the fact that Execration weren't able to find anyone with that recent smoke. They can't make that kill unless they have if they don't have Dark Ascension. And now it's even nighttime, so you might not have that flying capability, but you've still got the plenty of lockdown to be able to get on top of the Bane with how fast you're moving.
Alright, well, again, still feels like the advantage, slight advantage, I don't even know if that's a great way to put it, is Jing and
See you later,
Enryu.
Bane.
Oh man, it's like these games when you're position 5, it's hopeless. It just feels you can't do anything. You're just standing there in mute and just hoping that one of your commanders, your captains, your vocal leader just brings out an idea out of nowhere that can bring you back into a game. But it's 6 hours in deficit, and the probability is nowhere near Execration.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the sorts of things that I've found myself in this situation countless numbers of times. You know, you've got a fed Night Stalker early on, you've got a Leshrac who's just balling out of control. There's not too much that you can look to do about it. Even, you know, going into a Ghost Scepter, that's not going to save you from a Lesh. That's not going to save you once they pick up a Nullifier, and it's going to be a little time until at least they could do the latter, but it's sort of the situation that you find yourself perhaps forced into.
I
What
I think-
what did Coddle buy? Did he buy the shard? He had 2,000 gold, I'm sure of it.
It might have been the DC kind of weird buggy thing.
Maybe.
Because his net worth didn't change for me. It
Look
looks
at all
like
these Skelly Warriors, by the way, on the bottom side. The rally, plus 15 damage for everything that's looking to push in here. And they're great at tanking up tower multi-shots.
Bro, it's not broken at all. What do you mean? This is perfectly okay. This is not stupid of a mechanic in the game. Top lane.
Got Dark
Starting to
Ascension.
TP in, Enryu, peekaboo, run straight to Tino. And they're like, alright, Tino, yeah, we're just gonna leave you be. Just hope everyone else makes it out. But Enryu, he's still got all the vision in the world to play with. They see Vincenzo, they see Shanks as well. Who do they
They
want?
don't have detection for Asta. They don't have detection for Asta. He's gonna try and man fight into this.
Okay, well, top lane, we do see Bane going down. We'll go back to bottom
Oh
as
my
well as
God.
Asta. Just, Mercs Bob.
Two-shot. He two-shot Bob.
Oh, no.
It's a rough
not-
one. It's a rough one. I was very confident with Neon's draft going into this one. It just felt like they had all avenues, strong lanes, great ways to push objectives, supports no game at all. And yeah, looks like there's a little bit of an internet issue. Not sure what's going on in the Southeast Asian region recently. We're getting a lot of that, but you know, as an Australian, we have to have some sort of empathy for terrible internet.
Oh, don't bring it up, man. I've had more than enough issues with internet connection. I'm just glad now we have the MBN to work with. But you know, we got all 5 DC, Oof, so we could be here for a little bit. But Execration, they'll give them time to think of a way back in, I suppose.
And again, like, this is a series that means so much to both of these teams, right? Like, I wouldn't put Execration on the level of a team that might be fighting to stay up in Division 1, but honestly, if Neon takes this, Neon were one of those candidates. You know, they're a relatively less experienced side. Yes, they've put a lot of investment into their team, obviously having Chuan as their coach. A young team, you're going to get a lot of growth very quickly from a lot of these players by playing against the best. So if you drop this series to Neon, that is pretty damn significant, especially considering Neon were able to take 1 game off of Fnatic.
I'm really intrigued on how much Tuan is also bringing. Of course, post TI winner is been in the scene for a ridiculous amount of time, and also just the knowledge that he's probably bringing from the China region in particular, and then into Neon for, like you said, a lot of the new younger guys. How much can they really pick up? They will skyrocket in skill gap. So I'm just intrigued if we've ever had a question, you know, of how much Tuan is really like what his specific role is for Neon.
The one thing I'm really liking about Neon as well is kind of similar to Boom. They've stepped up their own level in this game recently. Is their engagement across a bunch of different platforms, YouTube in particular. You know, if you ever want to know more about the Neon players, especially the relatively newer ones that came from Atomic Esports, Neon's YouTube channel is really good. You get to learn a lot more about Avatar mode as well as Asta. And they even dropped, I believe, their team comms against Fnatic, at least some of them. And I was talking about it with John after they finished their series earlier on tonight, and he and I were in agreement. It was basically like, it was a little muddled. It was a little too much going on. Too many cooks in the kitchen, basically, with a lot of yelling going on, and that left me a little bit concerned, but it really feels like they're all on the same page right now. So maybe that's somewhere where someone like Chuan, obviously TI2 winner, really able to use his years and years of experience to be able to influence that and put them on the straight and narrow. Say, this is how you need to talk, no unnecessary talking, and even find their own codes for what they want to be doing. Like, you know, this is a red play, for example, might mean something that's a lot faster to relay to the rest of your teammates rather than smoke up and let's gank Roche. You can just say red play, you know, like that sort of thing.
Red play, is that what we're going with?
Sure,
Red
why
play.
not? It was just, I was thinking of a quick word that came across my
you
mind.
went with
red.
red play. Red play for Roche. All right, well, yeah, as always, those little, you know, intricate things we don't really have the knowledge of, the behind the scenes. It's always something I'm fascinated about, because we are really lately we're getting a lot more in-depth knowledge on a lot of the teams. I think DPC, of course, helps with that. You know, the interviews and also just the content that we have in between the games where the players get to, you know, speak their minds. John's doing an exceptional job as well. You know, with we hear a lot of their thoughts about the patches, and I know
You get to
FBZ
see
had
Boom working out on their Twitter page constantly, which is always great. I think they had a daily vlog at Gamers Galaxy as well, which of course they ended up winning. The quote that I remember most from that is, you know, Tim's was flexing his muscles a little bit, saying basically, hey, a few years ago, when Armel was the best mid laner in C, who was his position for? Me. Who's the best mid laner now? Yopach. Who's his position for? Me. So he's just saying, like, you know, I might be the position for, but I have just as much impact as any of these cores.
I mean, as a fellow support player, you are. I know you always like to have the supports acknowledged from their exceptional plays, so you know, no doubt you're always. I've noticed whenever there's a support player as a talent, they're always speaking about, oh, give him the shot, give him this, give him that. You greedy buggers. You always want everything for you.
You feel like someone from Oliver Twist at some point is like, please, sir, may I have anything this game, you know,
Please.
coming through. But, you know, that's why I'm always so happy when someone does get given something. Unfortunately, Pugner didn't get the Ag Shard in the last series, but it's certainly, you got to give people credit where it's due. And Tibbs, for sure, he's a big reason why Boom are having such a good time in recent months.
I know you're speaking about content and everything like that. We've seen kind of other esports really fulfill that kind of void that we don't really have in Dota. You know, interviews have always been a tricky thing that it's difficult to get because of how complex it really is, the strategies behind it. But I'm really intrigued to see how it's able to continue to go. Mate, thank you very much, because it's just you want to be able to build the players' brands and just be able to have more viewers come, like for Yopaj in particular and a lot of other players, they just, the viewers, they gravitate to them. And with all this content, we see you fans are coming left, right, and center, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why whenever RTZ streams, he gets tens of thousands of viewers. There's a reason Topson's so popular as well. You know, all of these players that have really made a brand for themselves, and I feel like it's certainly changing for SCA with being able to get a lot more emphasis onto their own players. That's why after every single series, whenever we get the chance to interview someone, I'm always like, where can people follow you? Where can people look to support you? And even if you're looking to do streams, XctN, we were able to promote him a little bit. Dreamercell is another one that loves to do streams, so maybe we'll see him back in the competitive scene again sometime soon. You never know.
He's standing in for Abe shortly. So from what I've heard, I don't remember what series it is, but anyway, that's a different series. We are back underway. 13-2, 9,000 net worth lead for OB.Neon. 18 minutes into the game, and it really feels like right now for Neon, they can continue to play super aggressively across the map, but probably that second Roshan is what they're waiting for to get more tower objectives after.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, it's a 10k lead, right? It's a lot. And they've picked up the BKB on the Night Stalker. He's only got a minute left of the nighttime. He does have the Dark Ascension up around that same sort of period. So that's really what they're waiting for, just the next use of that. But in that time, Wraith King is going to have his own BKB. So it gives them a small avenue to be able to come back into this. Tino as well. He's approaching his own. So he's an extra component away. Keeper of the Light, 4-star, very important. Have to imagine that's what Vincenzo wants as well, because you can't afford to go a Glimmer Cape. A lot of the damage right now is physical that's being done onto them, so
Radiant's
dust
bottom tower
removes
is under
its impact,
attack.
and you're not really
Radiant
wanting
are
it for the magic
scanning.
resistance either, so he's still going to
Dire's
go for
top
it.
tower is
I don't know
under
how strong
attack.
it's going to be, though.
Radiant's middle tower is
I
under
guess,
attack.
unfortunately for us, Roshan's going to be up in 2 minutes, so the action will continue just to brew off here a little bit. I feel like for Dire, their big timing in this game is going to be BKBs. Palos, he's going for his after the armlet, very
Radiant's
close to it
bottom
being
tower
completed,
is
just
under
needs
attack.
a little bit more gold for the recipe. You know, we've got Bob going for the BKB next as well, has enough gold for one component,
Radiant's
Tino as well, so
middle tower
3
has fallen.
BKBs on all 3 cores.
Dire's top tower
And
is
Neon
under
are
attack.
pretty spell damage
Radiant
reliant, of course,
structures are
exception of the Templar Assassin, but that's
Not even Night
really
Stalker,
the...
right?
Yeah, that is very true. I guess Dark Ascent right clicks, and when you're this far ahead, like you got Echo Saber, level 2 in ulti, so yeah, you're definitely right with that. But I think that's just the only avenue
Dire's
back in
top
for
tower is
Execration.
under
That
attack.
one fight they're looking with all 3
Radiant's bottom
BKBs.
tower is under
Bit of
attack.
smoke coming here from Neon. Just walking back, they know exactly where they are right now on Execration, because again, just like the last series, walking around on top of TA Trap, that's the power of that additional vision that gave them the confidence to look to go into this tier 2
top
push
tower
on the top
is under
side. So
attack.
Asta
Bob.
is able to take
No, Palos.
control.
Bob's trying to TP out. He'll make it. Whoa, they both make it. Okay.
Radiant's bottom
Just get away.
is under attack.
Bane makes it too. They
That's a big deal, actually. Like, again, it's a 10k net worth lead. You've lost outpost control. You've lost tier 2 tower top. But if you can wait
Dire's
for this
middle
Dark
tower
Ascension to
is under
expire
attack.
without losing anyone, then that's
This is a dope
rushed.
move. Oh, this is so fast from Neon, TPing to the outpost. Hello,
See
Tino.
everyone.
Don't go higher ground, that's a scary place. It just gets popped. Tino gone. Chains holds back Enryu, so what was seeming catastrophic for Execration if more heroes run up the high ground, only losing
Dire's
Tino.
middle
I guess
tower is under
you're gonna lose a
attack.
T2 tower as well, so it's still not too good.
I don't think they needed to even lose Tino, though, right? Like, you just needed to wait for that Night Stalker's Dark Ascension to be gone. You might lose a tower, but at least then you're fighting underneath your own tower, you know? It's a lot of a safer haven to be playing around as opposed to high ground, where you don't have the vision at all.
Bob's giving them information that some of the heroes are in the middle lane, so Night Stalker only has a bang and
blinding
Asta
light.
behind him. The Fiend Skip giving him so much control, but Wraith King going this armlet BKB build, we're seeing the lack of damage. So Henry's able to make it away off the back of his BKB. Palos pursuing for more, but they will not catch anyone else without Tino nearby.
So different if Bob was there. That's the big difference, right? They just didn't have the follow-up damage. It was a good Fiend's Grip, and it was an even better blinding light coming through from Shanks, making sure that Asta wasn't able to just chunk down the Bane with the right clicks. They're gonna claim back their outpost, but fortunately for them, they had to use a couple of ultimates to be able to make that defense happen of the tier 2 tower. And well, with the time that they've been able to waste, it's only 30 seconds away from the Dark Ascension, and I think that Fiend's Grip is needed to go for any kind of additional attempt. Okay, Vincenzo, I like him just going into the Shadow Amulet as opposed to the full Glimmer Cape. I don't think the full Glimmer is going to provide them enough. He just needs to be a little bit more elusive.
The smoke up, Tino the target. Might be the
Radiant's
position.
bottom tower
Oh no,
is
not
under
the
attack.
Warpine Raider,
Scanning.
giving them information. Tino. Oh, nice reactions. Cotto's actually going to be the one to face check the smoke. Vincenzo still moving towards the area along with Tino. So the fact that Neon don't just get one support, but they get also 2 extra casualties to add on top. Not only that, it's
Trying to catch up
Roshan
on.
now.
I'm going for another one of these TPs to try and maybe catch out Bob there, but it's Roche, right? Like, they're so farmed right now, man. It's ridiculous. 17-2 kill score. Both of these teams love to play really aggressive. Average game time is only like 35 minutes for both of them. So it's looking like finishing a whole lot faster than that now that they're able to take second Roche before the 24-minute mark. I think it's just going to be a similar story here for Enryu.
Radiant's
Dark
bottom
Ascension
tower
expires.
is
We've got
under
another
attack.
minute of daytime. Just wait it out. Look to get your BKB on the Night Stalker, and then you
Dire's
can just
middle
look to end
tower
the game.
is under attack.
We have seen, of course, the most recent TI. We saw the huge impact that a shield can have on defending high ground. We've seen, Mars Spear as well be a big issue, but do you feel like Execration can play off the back of that? Maybe blowing TA up, pin him into the tower? Do they even have the damage?
Oh, I don't think they do, unfortunately. I mean, you've essentially got Armlet BKB at 24 minutes on Wraith King. That is not enough. You need an additional item, and he does have a lot of net worth in the bank, but it feels like another one of these situations where you're so far behind at this stage, you need to play to try and win rather than play to avoid losing. So maybe even something like the Hyperstone, just for that additional couple of right clicks inside stuns, might be what you need. Desperately trying to get some of that control back inside their own jungle, just so that they have anywhere to farm, because again, Neon are just gonna wait it out. They're so close to hitting a bunch of timings. Blink Dagger now completed for the Night Stalker. Daedalus is up for Asta if he wanted it, but he's still got a Chrysalis, so perfectly fine for him to continue pushing. Avatar mode's still a little bit away from his own BKB, but I think they're very happy to just continue taking all of the outer towers. Actually, they're all gone, my bad.
Jing might just get Bob in the tree line. Woo, Bobby. He's out of there. They do see them now with the Observer Wards, multiple in the lane. Execration, they're going to look to smoke. They see Avatar mode. He's got Enryu behind him. Not an easy kill. 2100 health.
Up.
Connecting with the team.
Dire's
They
bottom
look to start.
tower is under
Fiend Script out. Enryu needs to jump to the back. He's going to do just that to get rid of the Fiend Script, but Leshrac has already been brought down. A 1-for-1, but you still got to be cautious how long you stick around as Asta looking to prioritize the backline. A couple of swipes, but not enough until Night Stalker claims the life of the Keeper. But now Radiant, they're still feeling so goddamn powerful, and Ryu jumps in for another as Tino's only hope is mainly just making space for Palos along with Bob to reset. But Palos is running directly back throughout the lane. Asta, jump in. Palos has got to try and hold him back with the Wraith Fire Blast, but Asta is still holding on to the BKB. They also get Bob under the mid lane, an ultra kill for Enryu, and
Radiant
this is
structures are
heading
fortified.
towards the end. I mean, that just might be the grave
Radiant's top
signs that
tower is
last
under
fight.
attack.
And he even has the gem on the Night Stalker now as well, so he's just able to completely pummel through these supports. We were talking about this as a potential 19 Death Bane and Keeper of the Light game. They're only up to 6 and 5 respectively, but Enryu just with the ultra kill that time, 9, 0, and 4. They were talking about as well in the pre-game that it's very important to control him, because
Dire's
if
bottom tower
Enryu gets
is
off the
under
hook,
attack.
he's the real consistent
Hello?
player coming through from Neon.
Seen what Enryu
Going that
can do.
nullifier as well, right? Like, this is having some kind of game.
To the impurities.
It's an exceptional Night Stalker pick. It was just perfect for Neon. And the fact that you got as much as you did out of the lane just showed how difficult Execration are going to have. I mean, this hero really struggles, and now you're top of the net worth, and you're doing whatever you want. Playing with toys almost as Enryu. As he jumps over towards the triangle, Avatar mode's going to follow suit. They're going to try and turn their attention now to Tino. They can only hope of a BKB to escape, but the timing that I was looking for completely nullified by just such a lead that Neon have.
Yeah. Laning stage went far too good for Neon.
They've even run into the Wraith King in front of the tier 3 towers, doing the long duration shackles, first life, and well, soon to be second life brought down as well. Nice force into the BKB. Oh, maybe they just turned to Bob instead. He too
Dire's middle
pop a
tower
BKB,
is
but
under
now
attack.
these towers are free. Double BKBs expended. How do you even think about getting in?
Dire's structures are fortified.
You don't. That's
Dire's
the
middle tower
long and
is
short
under
of it.
attack.
You just cannot contest into this. Asta's still got about 30 seconds left on that Aegis, so he feels confident to just throw himself up there on the front lines. Still hasn't used the
Dire's middle
BKB, by the
tower
way,
has
so
fallen.
still feeling very healthy and survivable.
Alright,
Although
Avatar mode. Nice stun onto multiple Tino. More of a defensive arena, just allowing Bob and Vincenzo to reposition, but they've lost the Wraith King. Reincarnation was still on cooldown as Neon taking more territory, just pillaging the base of Execration.
They've got all of their resources except for, imagine that, a regen rune on the top side. So they've got this Aegis expiring regen. Asta's back up to full HP. Avatar mode gets the regen back up towards the top side of the map. I believe he's got his BKB coming out to him as well. So yeah, I mean, this game is done.
Yo. It's 1%, Danog. Hang on a second.
This game is done. That is the most optimistic I've ever seen you, Gaben. And this is
He's
not
huffing on his
recoverable in my
copium.
eyes.
Leave him
The
alone.
sprites are with us.
If I...
Radiant
Oh,
are scanning.
1 hit, 2 hit. Okay, Ghost Scepter. Shanks he's chilling for now. They're scared.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
I'd be scared of a Warpine Raider, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%. This is one of the
Pinecone
strongest
running at me.
creeps. He's a big pinecone, man. I don't know.
Imagine if you were just walking in a woods and a pine cone started running at you with a spear. What do you think your reaction would be?
Dude, we live in Australia. We have enough freaking scary
That's true,
things that we have to
actually.
be worried
There probably
about.
is one of those things that just hasn't been found yet.
Well, it's the no, it's a version of Bigfoot. What
It's
would
a
you
drop
even
bear,
call him?
basically.
A drop bear. Oh,
A drop cone.
a drop bear. I love like new people coming to Australia, and you can just spin that drop bear
Dire's
story, and they're like,
turret
"What?
has been
Really?
killed.
You ride
What a big
kangaroos?"
story.
No, no, sorry. Well, no, it's a true story. I saw a TikTok recently in WA in Western
Here we go,
Australia.
Zoomer story.
No, well, okay, so it must have been a pub or something like that. A kangaroo literally just walked in. Like, literally just walked in. It was so funny, because chat always asks me, like, do you really ride kangaroos? Like, crazy stuff like that. And I just see this video, I'm like, yep, like, what's this kangaroo doing? Oh, my.
Just waiting for a mate. That's all he wanted.
He wanted a beer, let's be real. He wanted to get on the
True.
beers.
He wanted a mate, and he's like, where is it? I need to be able to buy them.
Beautiful thing, you can buy them in Australia. 6 out of the
love it.
countries, you get free shipping as well. Ooh.
Dire are
Full
scanning.
smoke, full cooldowns, nullifier picked up. This is another death coming through for the supports, and I just want to see
Don't
Vincenzo's
step that far.
positioning. Like,
Oh, Tino, you want to drop the arena. So, early use of the BKBs, Enryu just trying to target the backline, nullify out, so Shanks has to tuck his tail and run. Alright, BKB's expired. But they still need Tino, and oh no, they pushed him out! They pushed him out, the execution. It hasn't been there the entirety of the game, but that fight really sets the story as Palos is just charging around, mindlessly trying to find a target, but Raiden kiting them into oblivion as Enryu has got his dancing shoes on. In and out he goes, flying over the trees wherever it suits him, and now Wraith King, the last person to drop. Neon Gang indeed, as they just maul Execration. A 31-minute victory, but I tell you what, it could have been so much faster with how they look.
it was very disciplined. I mean, this is what I was talking about with a lot of their early game, their cohesion, their movement. It was all on point, and I would have to imagine that this is the Chuan influence coming in, right? The team comms were probably much more streamlined coming through, and they didn't want to go for any unnecessary sort of situations. A Wraith King, until he hits level 20, doesn't have that same kind of snowballing potential flash farming potential. He needs to be able to get kills, and he needs to push into objectives. I've deemed myself worthy of putting the shades back on just because of how confident I was with that OB.Neon draft. That Night Stalker, chef's kiss.
It's funny as well, because remember back to the content we have where Bob he was so convinced. He was so convinced that we're going to take this series 2-0. Of course, it's not over just yet, but a game one performance like that puts Neon in the driver's seat well and truly. There's so much momentum from them heading into game 2, and we'll find out if Bob can end along with Execration and somehow pull this out of the hat and try and force a game 3. We'll see you guys after the break.